Hi, my name is Lily and welcome to my channel and welcome to my YALC review and haul. So YALC 2023 happened a couple of weeks ago now, maybe last week, I'm not sure when you're going to see this, and it was my second time attending YALC. If you didn't know, YALC is the Young Adult Literature Convention, which is hosted in London every year. It is where authors who have written YA either present or in the past come to sign books, do panels and workshops, and you also have publishers there doing panels and workshops, agents, and there are stalls for different publishers and for different bookish companies selling things. It's also at the same time basically a companion convention to LFCC, the London Film and Comic Con, which is kind of like a smaller version of the MCM main Comic Con that people know about. So you also get access to the main Comic Con as well, but later in the day. Now, last year wasn't really the best experience at YALC. I didn't particularly enjoy myself. I felt like it was very cliquey and a lot of people were only there to hang out with the people they'd come with, and the community spirit wasn't really there, which is what I had been like sold on for YALC. This year it feels like the complete opposite, and it was back to being how people had told me YALC was. Everyone was so friendly. I genuinely like talked to people and made friends in the queues. I exchanged Instagrams with someone. The authors seemed a lot more chill this year. It was so much better organised, and so this year was so much better. And also, I personally am a fan of it being in winter because I don't like feeling like I'm going to melt when I'm in YALC and when I'm travelling to and from YALC. So 100% very happy with this. So what my plan is for this video, I'm going to first go through the books that I got signed and talk to you a little bit more about my experience with those authors. That'll be a very quick segment. Then we'll go through the YALC swag and free swag that I got, then the ARCs, I'll do a separate section on that, then the random things that I bought throughout YALC, from things like pin badges and bookmarks, and then finally I will end with the books that I purchased at YALC. All of this will be timestamped in the description, so if there is a particular thing you are looking for from my YALC video, please feel free to go to that section. So I'm going to start with my Saturday signings. First up, we have Holly Jackson. Now, I got number 87 for Holly Jackson in the queue. Essentially what happens is you arrive first thing in the morning, and when you come straight through the doors, there are signing tables set up, and there'll be members of staff on the signing tables, and they'll each have little tickets for the different authors, and they're in alphabetical order. And so you have to queue up and get a ticket for each author that you want, and it has a number on it, and then they call you up in batches. So they'll start, say, with 1 to 20, and those people get their book signed, and they continue through that until the signing slot is up. And then usually when the signing slot is finished, that's it. If your number didn't get called, sorry. For the most part, they tend to give out unlimited tickets, but once it gets past a certain number, usually about 200, they tell people that it's very unlikely you're going to get your book signed if you are above a certain number. So 87 for Holly Jackson should have been fine. Now, she had a 2-hour slot. Usually in a 2-hour slot, about 200 people get their book signed. Holly Jackson was exceptionally slow, bless her, and in her 2-hour slot she only got 60 people's books signed, but she was very, very kind. When she found out that there were actually about 300 people who had tickets, she agreed to take a quick lunch break and then come back afterwards, and she just stayed until everybody got their book signed. But if you were in the post-lunch break time, you only got 1 book signed, whereas everyone in the first 60 got all of their books signed. I thought that was quite fair, to be honest, because she could have just said, I'm going home, and left, and we could have got no book signed. So I am very appreciative that she stayed at all, and I got a book signed, and I got A Good Girl's Guide to Murder signed, the first book in this trilogy. My third book I already bought with a signed book plate when it came out, so now I have books 1 and 3 signed, and I'm just hoping I'll get a chance to meet her again and get book 2 signed. She was very, very sweet, and I said basically what I just said now, that I appreciated her staying at all, because she felt very apologetic and very sorry for not signing equal books for everybody. Also on Saturday was Sungu Mandana. I took my copy of The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches. She has written YA in the past. This one is not YA, but to be honest, most of the people in the queue had this book ready to be signed. She was really, really sweet. I was in one of the first batches, and I just talked to her and said about how much I love the book, and it was one of my favourite reads of the year, and she was very appreciative, very lovely, 10 out of 10, would recommend going to meet her. The final one for Saturday was a bit of an ad hoc one. I found this book in the Waterstones pop-up store and decided to get it and get it signed, and that is Mina and the Slayers by Amy McCaw. So I went to go and see Amy McCaw. Amy is very active on BookTube. I will link her below, and she is incredibly friendly. I would highly recommend checking out her content. That is how I found out about her books. And yeah, I saw it in Waterstones and I thought, you know, she's going to be here all weekend, why not go and get a book signed and get to say hi to her in person for the first time? And she is just as much of a sweetheart in person as she is online. She also gave me some freebies. I've got a couple of them here, so you get a little bookmark and this like mock-up of a poster for the museum that the characters work at, which is really cool. There were some more, but I can't figure out where I've put those. But yeah, that was a really lovely kind of spur of the moment decision, and I was really glad I got to see her. She is so lovely. Sunday was a bit of an awkward day for us because we only wanted authors that were having signings post 2 p.m. So we had to kind of keep ourselves busy, and my boyfriend did have a nap in the middle of the convention hall, but we managed it and we got through, and the first author that we got to meet was Patrick Ness. So you were allowed to take an unlimited number of books up to meet him, but my boyfriend and I are both fans of Patrick Ness, but my boyfriend has only read by audiobook, so I let him take my copies of the Chaos Walking trilogy up and get them signed and dedicated to him, and then I took More Than This and A Monster Calls and got those signed and dedicated to me. We also went to Patrick Ness's panel, and he is just so insightful and thoughtful, and you can really tell how appreciative he is of his fans and the opportunities he gets because of how popular the Chaos Walking trilogy was. He was lovely to meet at the signing. We were in the very first batch, and to be honest, I was really surprised that he wasn't as popular as some of the others, but it was lovely. And he really liked that I'd bought this copy of More Than This because he was telling me how he was very particular about how he wanted this book to look. And I said I really liked that it has a cutout in the front, but it doesn't rip on the shelves. And he was very excited I said that because he apparently was very particular that it was like that. So lovely experience, lovely man. And the final signing I went to on Sunday was Adiba Jaigata, and I got my 3 books by her signed. All of these are sapphic YA contemporary romances. I've only read Honey and Issue's Guide to Fake Dating, but I loved it so much I have all 3. She was really sweet, and I did get a bookmark, if I can show it to you, which was lovely as well. And yeah, not a lot to say. We didn't chat too much, but she was really lovely. Okay, next up I'm going to show you some of the freebies that I got from the publisher stalls and from YALC itself. I was in a certain like first batch of people who booked tickets. We get a free goodie bag, so there were some goodies in there too, but then a lot of these were won from publisher stalls, so some of them were just being given away freely, and other things, if you like won a spinny wheel, you'd get a free pin badge or a sampler or something. And so I'm going to quickly show you them because a lot of them, I don't know what a lot of them are. So first up we have this pin badge, which is the Love Potion pin badge for the Poisons We Drink book. Then we got to take one of these for, what's it called? If Only I Had Told Her. I believe these were just given out free. You could enter a competition to win an ARC, and if you didn't win the ARC, you got a pin badge instead. The next one I'm very excited about because this was a pre-order incentive pin badge, and I did not pre-order this book and I regretted it because I have the first pin badge and not this one, but it is the Defend the Dawn pin badge, and I'm very happy now I have a matching set with the other pre-order pin badge that I have for this series. The YALC goodie bag had some typical freebies, post-it notes which are really good for putting your name on when you're going to signings, stickers, a lanyard and pens. There was also a spork in there, which was awesome. We did make use of that, but I think that's still in the rucksack we use to take our food with us, so I don't have that here. Another stall was running an ARC giveaway, and if you didn't win the ARC, you got a fan, and here is that fan. And of course, there's some obligatory button badges as well. Now, I did get a lot of samplers throughout the weekend, and we did get a lot of duplicates with me and my boyfriend entering competitions, but I will give you a rundown of the ones I decided to keep because I only kept the ones I genuinely thought I was interested in. So first up, Scholastic YA gave out these samplers, which are a kind of compendium of lots of different samplers from different authors. Then there is The Poisons We Drink by Bethany Baptiste. The Girl in Question by Tess Sharp. I'm very excited about this one because this is the sequel to The Girls I've Been. Not for the Faint of Heart by Lex Croucher. Lie or Die by AJ Clack. Taylor Blake is a Legend by Laura Jane Williams. The Book of Doors by Gareth Brown, The City of Stardust by Georgia Summers, and The Reappearance of Rachel Price by Holly Jackson. I did try really hard to win an ARC of this. It was probably the most hotly competed ARC that everyone was trying to get, but I was not lucky, but I was lucky enough to get a sampler. And of course, the YALC goodie bag itself. I also got 2 freebies from Spinny Wheels for Fairy Loot. First up, we have the Howl's Moving Castle print, which I won, and this is really, really beautiful, and will probably be going somewhere in my boyfriend's room, and will definitely be going up on the walls when we move out together. And then what he won that he's going to be giving to me is the Valkyrie helmet pin, and the artist behind this one, which is No One Designs. I've actually bought something else from them, and I will show you that in a bit. Now let's go through the ARCs that I got. I don't actually think I got any ARCs last year at YALC. I think that's because it was a lot busier and there were a lot more people trying, but this year I also felt like some of the publishers were giving them away a little bit more freely. So the first one I got from a tombola, and basically you got different colours out of the tombola, and if you got a certain colour you got a different goodie bag, and I got a goodie bag that had this ARC in, which is The Love Interest by Helen Comerford, I think is how you say her name. She was also there, so this one was signed, which was really lovely. So this one follows Jenna, who lives in a town where in the year 2024 it is predicted that the new hero of the ages will arrive, but he will be accompanied by a catastrophic disaster. And when he does arrive, Jenna happens to be the first person that he saves, and so people believe she is destined to be his love interest, which she could not imagine anything worse. But she discovers that he is connected to this authority that knows something about why her mother disappeared 10 years ago, so she decides to start dating him to try and get closer to him, to find out more about what their plans are, and to see if she can find her mother. It sounds really cool, actually, and I love superheroes, so this is one that I'm very interested in giving a go. Next is one that my boyfriend won from the same Bloomsbury tombola, but has been gifted to me, and that is Not Like Other Girls by Meredith Adamo. So this one is a YA thriller about a girl who is originally at the top of her class, very popular, doing really well, until nude pictures of her leak online and everybody abandons her. Then her former friend Maddie goes missing, and everyone says that she's run away, but the main character doesn't believe that, and she decides to investigate what happened, and in doing so uncovers shocking secrets about her classmates. This sounds really cool. There's been a few YA books that have followed a similar pattern, so I'm interested to see what this one does different. And the final ARC that I got is Where Sleeping Girls Lie by Farida Abike Yimade. This is the author of Ace of Spades, which was not a book that I loved, but I did say when I finished this book, I felt like the book just wasn't for me because I found it too obvious, but that the author had great potential and that I'd be really looking forward to giving her next book a go. And so here we are. I'm definitely going to give this one a try. It is a chonker. It is huge. They were giving out these very easily. There were a lot of them being given out. You just had to solve this like Morse code puzzle. So this one follows Sade, who is the new girl at a mysterious boarding school, and she doesn't feel like she's going to fit in, but things go dramatically wrong when her roommate goes missing on the first night, and people start to think that she has something to do with it even after a dead body appears. And this is a dark academia thriller. I'm hoping it's a little bit less obvious than her last book where it's going, but let's see. I am really looking forward to giving it a go though, because even though I found Ace of Spades really obvious, I found it really compelling and really readable, so I am going into it with a very open mind. Now I'm going to go through the things that I bought at YALC that are not bookish. So first up is probably the thing I was most excited to try and buy and was very glad that I did, and that is the green Magic and Spells book pot from Illumicrate. So these were part of the monthly subscription book boxes. They were items in the book boxes for a while. There are 4 of them, and they were very, very popular. They have very expensive resale value, but every year at YALC they will have a small number of them for sale. They usually sell out in the first hour or 2 of YALC, so it is, if you want one, you have to go and get one very early on. So I actually left my boyfriend in the goodie bag queue for me with my ticket while I went to go and purchase this, and I'm very excited. It is really beautiful. It is really cool. I'm going to show you all the sides, and I am going to be using it to house my bookmarks instead of what I'm currently using. Now, I mentioned a moment ago that the pin that I got from Veryloot, I also bought something from that artist, and that was these 4 beautiful bookmarks that I just couldn't look away from. I'm going to show you them individually. First up, we have the one dedicated to Once Upon a Broken Heart, which is just really beautiful and foiled, and then it has, have I got it the right way up? Nope. And then it has a quote on the back for you. Then we have one for Divine Rivals, which again, beautifully foiled, and then a quote on the back. Then we have Fourth Wing, which is so lovely. I love the colours. And here is the quote. And finally, this might be my favourite one. It is the Percy Jackson one with its quote on the back. And this was the freebie bookmark that she was giving out, which I think is really cool, with all of her information on the back. And that was really cool. I really like that. A lot of people giving out business cards, but bookmarks, honestly, I'm more likely to keep, especially when they're pretty like this. Then I bought this Danica pin from the Ravenwood Library. This is my first time finding out about this seller, and she was so lovely. I think she said I was her first sale of the day. She was really sweet. I'm hoping she did really well, because look at the level of detail on this pin. Isn't it just amazing? I loved it. And Danica, even though she is a very brief character in Crescent City, I really love her, so I was very excited about this one. This is definitely like a really high quality pin, so I'm very happy. Then I bought some things in the Artist Alley in LFCC, and so one of the stores, she was really, really lovely, and she had so many pins that I was so excited for, and to be honest, I loved so many of them I couldn't decide which one to buy. But lucky me, she had a lucky dip going, and I think it was £5 to win a pin from the lucky dip, and pretty much all of the pins were worth a hell of a lot more than that, so I couldn't say no. The first lucky dip pin I got was the Valkyrie, which is so cool. I'm very happy with that one. And the second one, which I think my boyfriend got, we got Yelena, which again, really, really cool. We were secretly hoping for the How to Train Your Dragon pins, but these ones are just as cool, and we were very happy with them. Then I bought this absolutely adorable ghost holding a mushy pin from Lemon Pip. I had so many that I loved there. She had loads of really like ghosty themed pins and mushroom themed pins, so I decided to get the one that combined the two. It's also a wooden pin, which I love. And my final non-bookish purchase was this really cute Hobbit door charm from, I'm not sure if it's Mel's Outpost or Mele's Outpost or something else entirely, but this is the autumn themed Hobbit door charm, which I just thought was so cute. And she also had winter themed ones, but this was the one that was vibing with me, and I think she said she's going to be releasing more seasons in the future, which is very exciting. I also backed her Kickstarter while we're there, Hobbit Girl Autumn, which I encourage you to check out. Now finally, let's go through all the books that I bought at YALC. I'm going to start with the graphic novels I bought in Artist Alley. Unfortunately this year there weren't really very many graphic novel artists there, because Thought Bubble was at the same time, which is basically the major graphic novel and comic artists convention happening, and so most of them were all up there in Harrogate, I think. I'm not sure. Somewhere up north. So I was a bit disappointed, because one of my favourite things about going to Comic-Con is going around all of the comics stalls and the graphic novel stalls and finding new indie graphic novels to read. But there was one that I really liked, and he caught us because he was offering to do like free caricatures of you while he pitched his novels, and it worked. We got our free caricatures, and then I decided to buy his 3 books. It was a bundle deal. These are comedy retellings of Shakespeare, and one of them is my favourite Shakespeare, which is A Midsummer Night's Dream. And yeah, I thought he was really personable. I really liked him. His art style is quite cool. He worked on The Beano, and that was a comic book that I read religiously growing up, so that was really cool. And he was telling us about how he worked comedy into his retellings, and I thought they sounded really cool, so yeah, I was totally sold. I was suckered in, and I thought, why not? Now, all of the books that I purchased at YALC itself were actually all from the same stand, and that was the HarperCollins stand, which is completely coincidental. They just had books that I was really excited to buy. I was hoping to get more. On Sunday afternoon, the publisher stands usually discount the books quite heavily, and whilst they did do that on pretty much every stall, most of them just discounted bundle deals. So if you bought usually 3 books, you would get some kind of bundle deal, and as much as like 3 paperbacks for £6 was an amazing deal, there just weren't 3 paperbacks I wanted to buy. So I didn't buy as many books as I thought I would, but I did get some, and I paid the regular price there for all of them. So usually it was like 2 for £12 for paperbacks and then like 2 for £20 for hardbacks on the HarperCollins stall, I think, but I could be wrong. The first one I bought is Walking Practice by Dolki Min. This is a Korean horror literary fiction kind of book, I think. I've seen some people tag it as literary fiction, but more people tag it as a horror / thriller, so I'm gonna go with horror. And this is definitely not YA. This is about an alien that crash lands on Earth, who then decides to shapeshift to seduce different humans so that he can eat them. And that's all I know. I was kind of drawn in by the cover and the fact that I really love translated Korean Japanese fiction, and so when I saw this was Korean fiction translated, I thought I'd give it a go after the premise sounded really good. So I know nothing about this author or about this book other than the premise, and I'm looking forward to trying it. And then one of my favourite authors, I got Wreck the Halls by Tessa Bailey, the signed edition. So they had a few different Tessa Bailey books signed, where they had signed book plates in them. This is the only one they had that I didn't already own, and I didn't want to buy duplicates just because it had a book plate in it. It just feels so wasteful, but I don't have a copy of Wreck the Halls yet, so I got it. So obviously this is a Christmas themed rom-com. It is Tessa Bailey. It's gonna be a trashy romance with lots of spice, and I'm very excited for it. So this one has Melody, who is the daughter of a former rock star who avoids the limelight. She restores old books, but then one day some producers try to convince her to get her mother to reunite the band for one final performance, and she decides to give it a go. The male main character is called Beat. Very Tessa Bailey. He is the son of the other band member, and he is always in the limelight. He is very famous, very popular, and he is also trying to do this. They want to work together to get their mothers to reunite, but the problem is there was a big old feud that broke the band up, and these two could have been best friends growing up, but instead they were ripped apart because of this feud. And so they spend the time running up to Christmas trying to get their mothers to forgive each other and reunite the band for their final performance. I can't wait. It's going to be so much fun. I'm going to save this one for December, and I am going to tear through it. Now I'm going to look a bit silly for the next two, but let me explain. I also got 9 Liars and The Hand on the Wall by, oh my god, what was her name? Maureen Johnson. And because I got 9 Liars, I also got this free metal bookmark. And yeah, you're probably thinking, why did I buy like the 3rd and 5th book in a series, I think is what where these two place. They're not the 1st and 2nd. Basically, my lovely friend Beth from Books Nest gave me her old hardbacks when she decided she didn't want them anymore, and that was very kind of her. And at the time we didn't have The Hand on the Wall in that collection, and so they had it in hardback, and I decided to buy it. And then because it was 2 for £20, I decided to also get the next book in the series, 9 Liars. So have I read this series? No. Do I now own the entire series in hardback, most of them signed? Yes. Do I have any good reason for this? Absolutely not, but I'm excited, I'm happy, and I plan on binging them at some point. I think I might try and do a binge vlog in January. So overall, I had a really lovely time at YALC. I really enjoyed going this year. I met so many online friends in person for the first time, and a few for the 100th time, and that was really lovely. It was great to chat to people. Unfortunately, there were a few missed connections where we were going to different signings and workshops and stuff, and we never really bumped into each other, but I got to see most of the people I was trying to see, got my book signed, and I thought the vibes were just lovely this year. It felt like people were really there for the books and not there just to sit in their little cliques this year, and that was nice because, like I said, everyone was chatting to each other in the queues, in the panels, in the chill out zones, and it just felt like a really community spirit, and everyone was so friendly. I don't think you really understand how friendly people are up in YALC until you go down to LFCC on the ground floor, and the stall people there like don't want to chat to you, they don't want to talk to you, you buy it or you leave kind of vibes, unless there was a couple of women running stalls, and they were usually friendlier than most of the other stalls. But yeah, in general the vibes were so much better upstairs, and it was so cool. We spent most of our time up there, even though we did go around LFCC just to see if there was anything of interest. So yeah, good vibes. I would really recommend it if you want to go, but I would only say it's worth going if you're interested in any of the authors that are doing signings, any of the panels, or potentially looking for some ARCs or for YA books. A lot of the stalls there were selling, like the publisher stalls, were selling some adult books, but the majority of the books on the stalls were still YA, unless it was a really popular adult book. But there are some bookish merch stalls as well. But if there's no authors on one of the days that you're interested in, I wouldn't get a weekend ticket. The only reason you might want to go on a Saturday is because some things do sell out by the Sunday, but if you're not that bothered, then just go for one day, and Sunday is usually fine. And Sunday is the best day to go if you're looking to buy books, partly because that's when they will discount books in the afternoon, but obviously some books will sell out before the discount period. So thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please give it a like and consider subscribing to see more content from me. All of my social media links are in the description below. And if you'd like to leave me a comment to let me know you are here, leave me a book stack emoji in the comments below. Thank you again for watching. Bye!